not surprisingly. And then you go into 2017, 2018, you go through 2020, and then obviously January 6th. So tell us a little bit about your experience on that day. You've talked about it extensively, but I think there are probably a lot of folks who don't know exactly what it was like to be at the Capitol that day.
Listen, so the thing I actually wanted to be known about when my career was over was like foreign policy. That's my passion. I wanted to be known for like the defense of democracy overseas, not necessarily saying through military power, but through NGOs, stuff like that. And so the one thing I know is that when you destabilize an election system, so if you convince people that elections are rigged and they're not rigged, that's the fastest way to kill democracy. Because the only thing we need for a democracy to survive, I mean, none of us in here have to agree on a thing. But the only thing we have to agree on is that there's a basic contract that you get to vote, the vote counts, the winner wins. That's it. When you start to destabilize that, that's a problem. So I was very outspoken the night when Donald Trump came out and said, frankly, they are stealing the election. Obviously, I became persona non grata over the next 3 months during that transition period. And then on January 1st, I'm on a call with all the Republican members of Congress, and I'm the first to talk. And I'm speaking to Kevin McCarthy, who at that time just revealed for the first time that he was also going to vote against certifying the election, which was unthinkable to me because leaders always took the quote-unquote tough votes and the right votes. So I said, Kevin, look, you have convinced half of our party at least that the election was stolen. There's going to be violence. Like, we come from a history in this country of like, we're going to overthrow the government if you oppress us. We did that in a revolution.
There's a whole amendment.
There's a whole amendment about it. And so he's very dismissive. I go, there's going to be violence on the 6th. He says, okay, Adam, whatever. Next caller. So on the 6th, I actually told my staff to stay home. My wife stayed in the apartment. And I went into work. I took my gun for the first time. We were actually allowed to take our gun to the Capitol as members of Congress. This was the first time I ever did it because I always felt safe and I didn't need to take it. So I take it in. I go to the floor when all this stuff's starting, all the counting of votes. And I start looking at my phone and I'm seeing already that they're breaching the perimeter.
Sure.
And so I make the decision and I tell a couple people around me, I'm like, you guys might want to get out of here and go back to your office. So by the time I go back to my office, I remember I'm going through this checkpoint. We don't have to go through security, but I see one of the ladies, one of the Capitol Police, she's just wide-eyed listening to her radio. And I said, as the weirdest thing I ever said, I go, has it started? I didn't even ask her what's happening. I go, like, has it started? And she said, yeah, they're using bear spray. So I get up, get into my office. Behind my desk is a big window that overlooks the west front of the Capitol where all the action was going on. And I open that door, that window, and I hear boom, bang, pop, boom. And it was basically the moment that the DC Metro Police showed up and started using non-lethal. A lot of people don't know DC Metro showed up in force and actually saved the Capitol. The Capitol Police were having to retreat inside. And DC Metro was able to at least hold the line long enough to build a stronger interior perimeter. And that's what I was hearing. And I gotta tell you, I'm a Christian, I'm a religious person, but I've never in my life felt the presence of evil. So I'm not one of these people that's like, it's evil everywhere, right? I've never felt that. I did feel it at this moment, and I can't describe it besides to say, I stood up, I felt I knew what was going on, and I just felt this darkness that I couldn't describe.